Good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, and it's my day. I usually go live, and today I'm a little early because we have doctor appointments and things this afternoon. And so I am so excited today because I'm showing you this very cool embossing folder and stencil set. I've been getting a few questions about this since I mentioned it in my live I think it was last week. Let me show you in the catalog. It's this current October-December catalog. It's easy to miss. It is on page 46 and it's down here at the bottom. So this right here is an embossing folder, and you can totally use that by itself. No problem. Oh, I flipped, didn't I? Boy, that was really weird. Hold on just a second. Can you guys see me like normal? Or am I sideways? All of a sudden my phone did some kind of flippy thing. I'm gonna move it and see what I can do here. Make sure that I'm the right direction. I do not know why that did that. Please tell me if I'm sideways, okay? All right. Hi, Karen. Okay, so in the catalog, it's these three things is what I'm going to show you. And real quick, before I show you this, I just want to point out the Stamp of the Month sets right now are so good. So this one is for October, and it is, you know, we're in our last week of October. Can you believe that? And so this one is really good, and I'm going to be using it today just to show you a few cards. And then the one for November is amazing too. It's a Christmas mandala. It looks like a snowflake. A lot of consultants have been using this, and they're very excited. I made that ornament. You may have seen it on my live already. I kind of on my group page, I kind of popped it on there, but it doesn't really show the sparkle. So I used like the gold foil paper, and I gold embossed the large image, and then on the small image I used StazOn ink on glitter paper, and then I just quick colored and cut that, and that did not take very long at all. So this is a quickie, and it's I just thought that was it turned out really nice. So, and that's using this set. So I'm in love with this one, so you may see me pop on some ideas for that one coming up. Okay, let's talk stencils. You know, in the catalog, let me see if I can get my camera is showing so weirdly that I don't know how to move my images so that you can see them. It's like it flipped my image sideways or something. Very strange. Very strange. So let me just see. In the catalog, I'm moving it around to see which way I can show this. You can see they used like a dark pine green and a sage green, and they just used two colors on the stenciling, and it's beautiful just like that. One of the things I want to show you today is just using one color. It's really pretty. So let me show you the two stencils. So this is the embossing, and then let me see if you can see it better on black. Oh yeah, you can. Okay, so boy, that's really annoying. Hold on just a minute. I'm moving my camera around because I want to make sure you can see everything today. All right, so the first stencil is this one, and it has the bigger images on it. So it has the fat leaves, the holly leaves, and the stick and the stems. And then this one I call it the berries because it really is kind of like it has another leaf that you might do a different color, and then it has some little tiny three, what you think of as berries. And then this leaf right here, you'll see in my examples, I've used it a couple of different ways because I like when it's done as berries and I like when it's done as leaves. So, all right, I'm going to practice moving this up for you. Oh yeah, that works. Okay. And then I'm just moving it around. Boy, that Facebook does some weird stuff. It just throws me off. Sorry. So, okay. So the first thing you need is some scratch paper, and I have extra paper from my printer that, how sometimes you get those extra sheets of paper. I'm just going to use that. This is my all-purpose mat. I could do it directly onto my mat and it would be fine, but today I want to show you how to do this otherwise. Let's talk about tools. So, yes, using a sponge will work like this. If you're just going to do one color and you're going to sponge all over, it'll work. It gets the ink onto the page. But if you want a nuanced, cool look, for example, this one, I want you to see like the shading in the leaves that I got there. Is it close enough to see well? So for example, the whole thing, what I did was I used smaller blenders to get that nice shading, okay? So this is one of the cards we're going to make today. I did a thing, where you make two and cut them in half to make two cards. I'll show you that in just a second. Tools, you need lots of colors of ink. Basically, you need more or less 4 colors to get nice blending because you need a base and a shade for each thing. And you could do all one color and not worry about the shading at all. Or you could do, like I did, 4 or 5 colors that coordinate together. Now, brushes, yes, close to my heart sells brushes now, and they are really great. They're super soft and really, they hold a lot of ink and they work amazing. And you kind of need one per color family. But you can go onto Amazon and you can look up makeup brushes. This is a cheap set. I bought a set of like 7. And these feel the same to me. They hold ink well, just like they hold makeup well, and they come in small sizes, so you can do that special blending on these stencils. So I just wanted to show you that. The other thing I use a lot are, daubers. Daubers are things that, we almost all have in our stash at one point or another, have purchased those. And the weird thing that I have is I have pom-poms. Now these, whenever I don't know what to do with my 40% off coupon or whatever, I'll grab a bag of pom-poms and out of the kid craft aisle. I have this old ink tool from, 25 or 30 years ago, and basically, you get different sizes of pom-poms, you put it in the clip, and use that with your ink, and you can see it's very small, and you can even get those teeny tiny pom-poms, and you can do some very small blending. Now, if you don't have, I know this is weird. This was called a roach clip back in the day, but basically it really is an ink tool. It says on it, inked. Okay. If you have a binder clip like this, it works for these pom-poms, and you can just clip it on and tap it in your ink and then use it on your stencil. So that's another option. It gives you a little handle to use, and this is an inexpensive way to do some blending. All right. Embossing. I'm not going to emboss today. I already pre-embossed some of our pieces, so I'm going to show you what that looks like. There, you can see it pretty good. Again, I'm really messing around with this camera. I hope I don't look sideways. You guys let me know. Okay, and so you can see that embosses really well. When I emboss these, I put 2 pieces of cardstock in at the same time and run it through my machine, and that way I get extra pieces, and it really helps to do it that way if you're going to do colored cardstock, or at least close to my heart colored cardstock, because you know it has that white core and it can crack a little bit if you are too harsh with your sandwich when it goes through. You can get white edges. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to show you 4 different versions. So yes, it's going to take us a little time today, but I just want to show you how to do this. And the first thing I'm going to do is tape down my piece. Now, I don't want to tape the edges because I'm going to be stenciling them, right? So I'm going to put down like a sticky piece of tape, just like that. And I'm going to move my camera down. I really do want you to be able to see that. Okay. So it's stuck to my table, which is great. And then remember, I have 2 stencils. I am going to start with the leafy one, and what I need to do is I like to start with the fat leaves, the ones that look big, like that. So I line those up. As long as you get all of your fat leaves lined up, and you can see I'm moving it around like this, and you just kind of shift until you get it where your fat leaves are lined up. And then I am going to put a piece of washi tape across the top. And it's kind of important to washi tape the sides also, just because when you are using inks and things, if you use something too thin, it will go under your stencil. So I tape it on 3 sides. Boom. Now, the color I'm going to use today, I just want to show you, this is pine cardstock. I'm going to use pine ink, and we're just going to do a tone on tone. Moose, knock it off. My dog is trying to get my attention by going into my garbage can. He's driving me a little crazy today. All right, so I'm going to use one of my blending brushes today for this one, and I'm just going to rub it across my ink, and then I'm just going to go in and blend all over the stencil. Now, the thing about the stencil is you do not need it to be super duper dark for it to show. You can do a super light blending, and then when you lift it up, see it's colored. But for this technique where I'm doing tone on tone, I really do want some real color on there. So I am going to do this kind of dark. And I'm doing the stems, I'm doing the fat leaves, the thin leaves, everything. And I'm not being too discriminate. I'm just putting this all over. The main thing is trying not to miss any areas because it's very easy to miss spots. Okay, so there's stencil number 1, and I am going to lift it just like that. And this is still taped down to my paper, and you can see it's kind of messy. I have a dirty one of the little micro towels, and I am just going to clean that off. I don't want my green to get into my next color that I'm going to do. So I'm just cleaning that off in between. Now, at home, like when I'm not on camera, I might even run to my sink and rinse it off real quick. Okay, so now we have stencil number 2, the berries. And so what I do is I pick several berries, like up at the top and at the bottom, and I try to line those up. So sometimes, like if I line up these and I line up these, everything else is gonna line up, okay? I just do a quick look over, and sometimes you have to lift it a little just to make sure you're in line. And the same thing, I am going to, once I get it all lined up there, sorry, I feel like my hair is probably in the camera. There's that. And we're going to do a little on this side and a little on this side. You can use any kind of tape. I use washi tape. That masking tape looks really cool. It works really good. Anyway, so here I go with the brush again, general brush, and I'm just going to go over all of the openings in this stencil. Now, you can see it doesn't take long, but since I'm going to make 4 backgrounds today, it might take me a little time to fill in all the spaces, but it'll pay off, I promise. So this is what fast forward is for when you're on replay, right? You can like zoom me forward a little bit so you can see the outcome. All right, so that's pretty good. All right, we're done with our pine. I'm putting my pine brush aside. I'm going to lift this up. I'm going to clean it off before I forget, because I often do. I'm not very good about remembering to wipe those down. And then I get ink everywhere. All right, so there's that. Okay, now we can lift up our sheet off of the tape, and I'm just going to show you that. Look how pretty that is. Now, just as an extra, imagine if you used, your shimmer brush and you just pick and choose where you want to use it. Maybe you want to use it just on the circles or something. I won't do them all, but you can see, maybe you can see that shimmer really makes it pop out. It looks so good. The other thing with the shimmer brush I like to do is spatter, and we'll do that on our next card. So look at that. So that background is very cool, and it's a great way to use that stencil. You don't even have to emboss if you don't want to. You could just use the stencil, but the embossing adds the leaf detail. You know how it has the lines in it? That is the embossed area. Okay, there's section 1 done. Let's do another one in a traditional Christmas color. So I am going to, again, lay this onto my sticky tape, and that way it won't move around. You don't want it to move around. And we are going to start with that number 1 again, and we're going to line up the fat leaves just like that. When you get the fat leaves, like when you look and all the fat leaves are lined up, everything else will be too. You don't have to like pick 1, 2, 3. Yes, those are all together. Yes, those look great. So I'm just going to tape that down just like that. So I want to show you, this is the card that this is what we're going for, this look right here. And basically I used 3 different greens. So the first green I used was an all over sage. I just wanted a general color. Let me clean my brush off. I use this microfiber towel is one of the best investments, and I check it. I just don't want the super dark green mixing with my light green. There we go. Okay, and you can see I got most of it off, so I'm pretty good. All right, so we're gonna put it in our sage, and you can kind of see what that looks like. It's a softer look, and I am going to use kind of a soft touch on this. I don't want everything crazy dark, but I do want a base color. Okay, and the color that I'm doing, you could do this, like let's say the only green you have is pine green. You could just do a super pale pine green over the whole thing, okay? And it would be just fine. Okay, now I'm switching to pine green, and I am switching to a dauber. It's a smaller way to go, and you can see it's a lot darker than the other green that I used. So I'm going to use a light touch, and I'm going to start at the bottom of a fat. Let me see if I can. That's about as close as I can get without lifting my project. I'm going to start at the bottom, and I'm going to flick my dauber upward like that. Okay? Start at the bottom of the leaf and flick, 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 flick. So start dark, go light, and notice I'm doing just the fat leaves right now. Okay? So like that. I have one down here, I have one down here. And then I want to do the holly. Now the holly, in my opinion, is a bit darker. And so I am going to kind of do a little more of an outline. So start at the bottom, dark, and then kind of go around the edges a little bit. So that will be more of an all over dark, but not crazy. Like, not like, I don't want it like solid pine green. Okay, so I'm starting at the bottom, I'm flicking the color up, and I'm using a light touch. I am barely touching this, okay? And I'm looking to see where I missed. I think I did pretty good. I'm gonna lift this up just so I can look. Ooh, pretty. I love it. Is there any of them that I'm not happy with? Nope, that looks pretty good. I think this one could use a little more color. There. So there's my pine. Now, these little leaves right here. Let's see if I have one. It looks like that right there. I want those to be a little darker also. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to, again, start at the base of them and flick upwards but I'm going to cover more. I'm not going to leave as much of the light on those because I want those to be bold on my thing. Okay, let me see. I feel like I missed. Did I miss one? I'm looking around. I don't see any that I missed. Okay. There we go. So, the only thing that we have left on this stencil is the stems. Now, for the stems, you can go in with any color of brown, or you can use your darkest, I'm reaching, sorry. You could use your darkest color, you know, that you have. I have mocha, I have toffee, I have shortbread. I kind of like the toffee. Now, this is one where these are very skinny, and this is one where it is really nice to have the pom-poms, just because then you won't get brown on other parts. Now, this stencil, it just so happens that this stencil is well put together in that the items are not very close together. So you don't have to worry too much about like getting your brown and your green, or your green and your brown, or, you know, getting colors mixed together. But if you were using a much bigger tool, like I could easily use a dauber for this. I can show you that. It'll go faster anyway. But I just go into all the little stems. Let's see, there's one down here. There's one right there. Do I have them all? I think I do. Okay, that's the end of the stencil. So, stencil number 1, I'm going to lift and reveal and all right, let me move it up close so you can see how that looks. So you can kind of tell that the colors are blended, and some of them look a little more like they're a little choppy looking, like right there. I could go back with my sage and blend that in a little more, and it would look even softer. Like if I put my stencil back over and use my sage tool and go back like this, it'll blend out those harsher lines. But I'm happy. I'm happy with how it looks, so move on. All right, so let me clean this off again, because our next project is totally different colors. I don't want that green to mix in. All right. Let's go with stencil number 2. So stencil number 2 is this one, and again we're going to line up those berries top bottom. If you get 2 or 3 lined up well, you are in good shape. We're gonna put that down, put that down. I'm going to put another little piece at the top also. All right, now in my example, you can see, I think that they intended for those to be leaves, and then these to be berries. Let me see, that might show it better here. So like those to be the berries, and then these would be leaves, but I liked more red on my cards. So I have 2 colors of red, candy apple and scarlet, and we will start with our candy apple. I'm trying to keep my brushes straight over here so I don't get all mixed up. All right, so here's our candy apple, and I have a candy apple brush to use, so I'm going to rub that over my ink. And then I am using a light touch, okay? I do not want too much boldness. Oh, and then see how I got there's a leaf on this one. I wish they would have made a third stencil right there. There's a leaf. I don't want a red leaf. So I'm going to be a little more discriminate now, now that I remembered that was there. And I am going to put the red onto all of the circles. And I'm going to avoid the leaves. And see, I'm using that brush, and I'm doing a pretty good job of avoiding it now that I can see them. And just like that. There's one there, there's one there, and there's one there. Up at the top. Alright, so now I am going to take my darker red, which is scarlet, and I want to do I want to do a little bit of shading. Now, you can use a brush, you can use a pom-pom, you can use a dauber or whatever. But basically, I'm taking that scarlet and I'm going around the edges. I'm going circle, but not in the middle. Like circle around each one. I'm not scrubbing in the whole thing. I'm just doing a circle like this. Okay? A circle. So by doing that, what happens is you get just a little bit of shading around the edges, but you still get that lighter color. And then I'm going to do really scrubby on my actual 3 berry areas. So I'm just doing the circles around the ones that are kind of bigger, like leaves. Okay. All right, so there's my red. All right, let's fix those leaves. Let's do something different. Now, this is what it looks like. I should reveal and show you how pretty that is. Isn't that cool? So a lot of people use avocado, which is a yellow green with this. I kind of liked the idea of a darker blue green. Yeah, oh good. I'm going to do more, Heather, so don't worry. I'm going to drive you all a little crazy doing lots of samples today. Okay, I need another green. I want to use a dauber, so let me grab another dauber out of my stash. I try to use one for, you know, like each color, so I don't get dark and dark and light, you know. Okay, so I have a sponge dauber, and now I'm going to go into those leaves. Now, again, from the bottom, flick out. Now, these, I don't care. I kind of want them to be a little more solid, but if you start at the bottom of the leaf and flick like that, you will get a paler color at the top, and it will look dimensional. It will look very cool. So from the bottom to the edge, dark at the bottom, and then flick up like that. Dark at the bottom, flick up like that. Dark, flick, and dark, and flick. Okay, I don't think I missed anywhere. Did I miss anywhere? I feel like that's light. Okay. I think it all looks really good. Okay. The reveal for the Christmas color one coming up. Aww. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? I'm trying to figure out which way to move it so you can see it better. Aww. Turn it sideways. Isn't that pretty? So you can see how that looks dimensional almost because of the shading. Now the other thing that I did on this one which I better clean my stencil before I go any further because I will forget. Okay, hold on. Let me scrub away here. Now, when I use a lot of red, I have a tendency to, it's probably best actually to go to the sink and actually rinse it off. And your stencils get stained, and you know, it's just how it is. I don't worry about that because they're a tool. You know, it's like your stamps getting stained. Some people get really wigged out by that, but I do not. To me, this is a tool. I try to keep them as clean as possible, but whatever if they get dirty or stained. Okay. The gold. Let's talk about the gold flicking. I have a gold shimmer pen, and I'm just going to squeeze a little to get a blob. All right, see how I get like a puddle? And now I'm going to flick it, blob, flick it. What is so amazing in person is that this stuff looks incredible. These gold spots, and if you really want to add, you can pick a few of the circles and add gold to them, and it just, oh my gosh, it looks so cool. All right, we're done with this, so I'm going to lift this off of our sheet. And check that out. I'm going to see if you can see the sparkle. If I can move it. Oh, there you can see a little. There you can see a little. So you can kind of see where I flicked. It's just a real super fine gold. Isn't it gorgeous? Now, because I used the shimmer brush, it would take a minute to dry. But I do want to show you how I made these cards, right? So I have this card and this card, and basically what I did, just so you know, I have one right here. I took the panel and I took an embossed piece like this and stacked them together, and then you just cut them apart. Chop, chop, chop. And then you mix and match. So you have a white bottom and a colored top, and a white top and a colored bottom. And look how pretty, pretty, pretty. Now the stamp set I used for this one is the Merriest Season. It's in the core catalog. It's nice because it's got greenery and it's got pieces that could be used during the rest of the year or for other things. It doesn't all have to be Christmassy, but it works great for this. So pretty. And I used shimmer trim because I already had that little bit of gold, and adding a little extra shimmer at Christmas. When else are you gonna do it, right? Okay, let's flip. Oh, and I also wanted to show you how cool that looks on the paper from the current Christmas paper pack. Isn't that cool? So pretty, so pretty. So there's lots of options there. We're going to go to the next card, which I wanted to do a different color scheme. So, look at those. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. This is one that has more of a secular tone. You wouldn't have to do that. I wanted to show you that you could use plain paper. I did that cutting thing again, and I used lots of shimmer by using silver glitter paper. And then this one, I just used the embossed white at the top and the colored part at the bottom, just like on the Christmas one. And this, of course, is the October stamp of the month. So like I said, I wanted to use some of these today and show you. I feel like I haven't shown the stamp of the month for a couple months. I just wanted to tell you, one of the consultants didn't want to put a hug-filled New Year, and so she did some stamp surgery on this bottom part and then used a birthday stamp that said birthday. So it says hug-filled, happy, healthy, peaceful, and hug-filled birthday. So I thought that was pretty clever. So I like it. Anyway, so these are the cards we're going for right now. The colors, like I said, most of the time you can get by with 4 colors. So I have Glacier, Mist, Lagoon, and Linen. You're probably wondering why I have 2 labels on my Glacier. I put it on the wrong side. I bought some extra labels to put, so I had it on both sides, and I don't know, I put it on the wrong side. I'm a dork. Okay, let me get another piece of scratch paper, and we are going to take our embossed card base. You're going to be an old pro at this by the time we get to the next. We have one more after this, and then I'll show you everything we made real quick before we go today. So I'm going to put tape down, and there we go. That way it will not be moving around on me. And then we are going to take stencil number 1, and remember, when I always line up the fat leaves, because to me that's the easiest one to line up. So once the fat leaves are lined up, everything will be in place. And if you get it a little off, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't look terrible. So these fat leaves, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Glacier all over, and I'm going to shade with Lagoon, okay? So let me get out my Glacier sponge. Make sure it's... I try to clean these off after I use them by wiping them on my microfiber towel, and then, you know, they may look a color, but they're not putting color on to my project. Does that make sense? Okay, so here I go again. What is really nice, now if you do not have blending brushes, which again, they're so cheap, like at Amazon and stuff, it's like, please use makeup brushes if nothing else. These make things so fast. You can use a sponge. You can, you know, dab, sponge. It just takes longer. And the whole idea of the stencil process is to make the coloring easy. It is really about your tools. So, all right. I've hit all of the places, and it's not crazy dark. I do not want it to be crazy dark. Let me lift it up and show you. Isn't that neat? Okay. Bring it up close. Okay, so now we're going to do our shading. Make sure everything's lined up again. I'm putting this brush away. And I have Lagoon. Now, Lagoon is dark. It is a dark color. Look at that. It's dark. So you don't want to go in there and scrub away. You want to use a light touch. And again, we're going to flick the color from the base to the top. And you don't have to re-ink every time. So we're going to do base to the top, and just remember the idea is kind of a soft look. I mean, these are kind of I wanted that sort of icy, wintry kind of look. And on the holly, I'm going to go a little more around the edges because I want more color around the edges. So base, and I'm flicking up, and then a little tilt and do some of the edges. So I put these cards that I made on the maker's site to show people. And I don't know if it was because there was nothing on TV last night or what, but I had like 200 likes before I went to bed last night. I was like, wow, everybody's online. But people really, the favorite is this one. Okay, so now we have that done. I'm just gonna pull this back and show you what we have so far. Now, these little V-shaped leaves right here, let me bring it closer. These little V's like this one, I decided to make those a soft item. I did not add any lagoon to the little V's. But what you could do if they feel like they're too soft, you can go back in with your glacier and hit those again. There's like 3 of them, I think. There you go. Just wanted that color, but not crazy color. Now the only thing left on this stencil are the stems, and the stems we want to be fairly dark. So you could pull out like a charcoal gray or a pewter gray, but I'm going to use my mist. Mist is like a in-between blue-gray, and I'm going to use a dauber. And I'm just going to, I want these kind of dark. So I'm going to go on to where the stems are. And you have to kind of, the stems are, to me, the hardest part because you really have to look for them. It's like, where are they? There's one. There's one. Because it's really easy to miss one. For these, I am just doing circles and coloring in. Circle, 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 circle. All right, do I have them all? I think so. Looking around, there's one right there. Okay, so there's my stems, and we are done with that stencil. Ta-da! Okay, before I do the next part, I really want to clean this off because, again, my next colors are really different. If you have old color still on your stencil from the last project and you're doing that swirly motion, you're gonna get that that old color combining. Like if you were putting yellow on, you're gonna get that gray onto it. Yuck. So, all right. Stencil number 2, I'm gonna line up these little holes right there. I have holes there, holes there. I try to line up this and this, and then these down here, and then everything pretty much lines up. Sometimes a little shifty. Okay, and I'm going to put an extra piece here at the top as well. Okay, we are ready for these colors. Now, the softest color that I own that still shows up as a color is linen. And I can be honest with you that I have almost never used linen on anything before. It is one of those colors that it's so pale that I'm like, I'm not sure this is worth, like I don't stamp in it or anything. But I really want those leaves right here, right here. these leaves are linen, this soft kind of color. And so it's probably best to use a dauber for those, or something small. So I'm going to use my pom-pom, and I'm only going to do those leaves. I really want a dauber. I thought I had one out for this, but probably not. Anyway, I'm just going to keep scrubbing away at those a little bit. I just want them to show, and they don't need a lot of ink. It's just slow to do them this way. What's everybody else doing today? It's, you know, it's beautiful, but man, it's cold. I went out without a jacket and it was like, whoa. I have some errands to run this afternoon, and Stephanie is messaging me. I sent her prize from the class, which is this right here. So I hope she pops on at some point and watches this, because I really think, okay, so some of the consultants were struggling with this too, because, you know, when you're a stamper and you use markers to color, you don't think about the differences with stencils, and stenciling for Close to My Heart is a fairly new thing. So for example, if I created the stencil, I would create it as a 3-part stencil, not a 2-part stencil. So that, I think, you know, it's hard to see how to get the cool shading and subtlety, because, you know, everything ends up looking like a big glob. Okay, the last color I'm going to use is Mist, and I have my dauber. I think it's this one. Yeah. All right. So it's a dark color, but this is what I'm going to do for the berries, and I want to use a super light touch, not dark, and I'm doing a swirl, okay? Swirl, like a circle. And by doing that, I'm getting some of the dark and some of the light on the berries, so they look shaded, okay? They look shaded, but I'm not really doing anything to shade them more. Now, I'm also going to hit all the little dots. There's individual dots and 3 dots on here, but I am going to cover those up with some stickles. I just need to know where they are. So, all right. Have I done everything? Swirl, swirl, swirl. Okay. Ta-da! Da-da-da-da! Reveal. There it is. Isn't that cool? Now, the stickle situation, this one, I would probably go ahead and cut it apart first, but I like to use stickles on the circles like this, and it just adds a lot of bling to the card. I like adding bling, as you know. And then you can use a shimmer brush if you wanted to. Like, okay, since we didn't go back and do a darker shade on the little mist, I think those look perfect. But if you wanted to, let me open this. This is the clear shimmer brush, okay? you could go in and go around with the clear shimmer, and you can kind of see it adds even more shading and it adds some sparkle. So I'm not coloring in the whole circle, I'm just doing the edges. I don't know if you can see that at all, but you can see that it's shaded differently than this one. So ta-da! So there is our third example. We need to definitely set that aside to dry. Okay, let's do the fourth. I better clean my stencil off. Again, I forget. So far we've done pretty good on not getting weird colors mixed into our card. But you know, the other thing I use on my stencils is sometimes I will use like liquid pearls and scrape it across, kind of like with texture paste, and it gives a little more dimension. It has to be super flat so it doesn't seep under, but it looks really nice too. All right, let's do our next one. Here is our card base. Stick that down. Now, this one will blow your mind. Here's the ones we made just a minute ago. Those were some favorites, but this one had a lot of likes as well. Look at this. It's totally fall. And the holly leaves, shockingly, do not look like holly leaves to me. They just look like leaves. So it worked out for me to do this. Now, I used a billion colors because I love the fall colors. They're so pretty. And so how can you, you know, not, right? So let me just show you. I think I missed one. Hold on a minute. All right. Look at all the colors that I use. Now, you would never need to use all of these crazy colors, but I'll tell you what color what I'm using, and you can modify it however you want. All right, so again, we're going to go back to this big leaf stencil, and we're going to line up the fat leaves, get them all nice and straight. And when the fat leaves are done, everything looks lined up. So now I've made, when you do this assembly line style, you end up going really fast at this. So, you know, it's been an hour and we are on our last one here, and we've only made, you know, like 4 backgrounds. But it doesn't have to be that way because you can do assembly line style. So I could just pop my paper in and out even. So I'm starting with shortbread, and this is the color I'm putting kind of all over. My shortbread has another color, or I have a little bit of another color in there, I think. I think I got a little green up there, probably from another card. Okay, so I'm just all overing that, and that's done. Okay, now I want to shade my leaves and do my stems, and I was gonna do mocha, but mocha is almost black. I mean, it is really, really a dark brown, and I really like toffee, so we're gonna go with toffee, and we're gonna swirl onto our stems, and you can see that's fairly dark. So that's plenty dark for me, but you could use a darker brown if you have one. And there you go. Once you learn the stencil and where things are, it really does go faster. Okay, now I'm also going to do my toffee in a flick motion on my leaves. So on all of my rounded leaves, I start at the base, flick up, kind of go a little bit around the edge, just a smidge. I want them kind of two-toned, and I don't want them all to be identical necessarily, so I'm just... So these have shortbread and then a little brown. And now I'm going to take the toffee, I'm going to do the holly ones all a little darker like this in toffee. I'm still leaving some of the lightness in there, but I just want a little more brown to my project. Right? There's that one, toffee done. Now mocha, the way I used mocha was I used a pom-pom. Let me grab one. Okay, and get some ink on there. Now on the holly, I'm just flicking a little bit of that darker. Now, this is totally unnecessary. Don't need to do it, but I feel like it adds something to these leaves. And it gives the brown, like, more tones, which looks more fallish to me. So there's my holly with a little tiny bit of mocha on it. You can see where I didn't want them all that super dark brown because it would be too much, but I do love how that looks. All right. So the little leaves like this, I left them shortbread, the little V's. I just went over it with my shortbread brush a little bit more just so, I don't know, looks like I missed a little toffee thing there. Okay, I think I have everything on this one. Do I have everything on this one? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. All right, we're ready for the last stencil. And we're going to line that up. I'm going to line that up. Why am I having trouble? Oh, there, because I'm really low. Okay. I'm lining up these three leaves, these dots, and those dots. Boom. And then I just sort of do a quick glance over here. Now comes the fun colors of fall, the bright, the yellow, the oranges. And so what I wanted to do, I think I'm going to start with the light colors first with just Sundance. Sundance is a very vivid gold yellow. Not always my favorite color, but I love it on here. And I'm going to do these leaves. And remember how we did the flick and move it up like that? So the bottom of the leaf has more color than the tips of the leaves. So we're going to flick and then use a light touch on the ends. It adds some gold, but it also adds some shading. Flick, and then just very light. I just love how this looks. It's so pretty. Look at that. And then if you feel like it needs a little more, you can always go back and add more, but you can't take it away. So don't just go bop, 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 without trying the flicky motion thing first. There's our Sundance. Okay. Paprika is fun. Paprika is fun. Again, I'm going to use my pom-poms, and I'm going to dab into this paprika color. Hold on a minute, let me get a better grip. And you can see it's sort of an orangey brown. And I'm going to do circles like that onto these. So a circle, a circle, a circle, a circle. And they turn out so pretty. Circle, circle, circles. This is a very rewarding project. Like when you finish, you kind of feel like an artist. It's like really cool. And I think the hardest thing of all is, first of all, having enough colors and tools, because the coloring itself isn't hard. It's more, do you have a small enough tool to get in all these little holes, right? And then I'm gonna do real dark on the little triple berries. Now, if I really want to go a little crazy on coloring, because this is very pretty, just the way it is, right? Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? If I really wanted to go a little nuts, I could pull out my Scarlet pad again and shade those berries even more, because are the bigger leaves or whatever, and give them even more dimension. And again, I'm not coloring them in. I'm not scrubbing to color them in. I'm only doing a circle, which means the light, there's a light and a dark on each leaf or berry or whatever you want to call these. I think these are leaves, but I keep thinking of them as berries because I need the boldness, the brightness on this. Now, when I did mine, I kind of felt like, okay, it still needs a color. It just felt kind of drab to me. And so I looked at all my colors and I chose avocado, which, you know, seems crazy to add to this. But avocado is a golden or a bright green, and it was perfect thing to add to the little, you know, there's just these random dots on this, like that. And I just really liked how that looked. And then you could even add it, you know, a little to some of your leaves if you wanted to. Anyway, ta-da, ta-da. Okay, ready for the reveal? And ta-da, let's lift that off. We'll get rid of that scratch paper. I'm gonna hold it sideways so you can see the whole thing. Isn't it pretty? I just love it so much. This is another one that looks really good flecked with the gold, or having the gold with it. It's just, it really adds to it. Let me show you the final projects that we made. So this one, I used the mocha colored glitter paper and a little bit of mocha cardstock to back the message, and that's it. The only other thing on there is a little gold stickles on the dots. Look how pretty. So there's one. This one, beautiful, beautiful. That was the one I set aside to dry. It is not dry yet because I used stickles on it, but I cut it apart and used it like this, but you could use the whole thing. Look how pretty with the silver. Beautiful. I'm not going to cut that one apart because I want to make another card. So we have fall, we have a winter look, and then the last one we did was this with the Christmassy colors and the gold flecks and shimmer brush, and I cut that one apart and made 2 cards. Very cool. I think those turned out beautiful. Those would be so fun to make. And then the other thing I showed you was just how to do a solid tone on tone. I've seen one of the consultants did this with Scarlet where it was all red. It looked like brushed velvet. It was gorgeous, and I like it with the green as well, but wow, pretty, pretty. So, and this is what it looks like plain, which is wonderful. You wouldn't even have to color it at all. Isn't that pretty? So there's our project today. Thanks for coming in early. I appreciate it, and that way I can get to all of our doctor appointments and things this afternoon. Thank you. Let me know which one is your favorite. I really want to know which one you like the best, and if you make one, gosh, definitely post it on here so that we can see it, because I'm shocked at how different all of these look. It's all about the colors you use and the technique. So thanks a lot, everybody. That's what I got. Have a good afternoon.